So without any further ado, I don't know which one of you wants to go first. John, you want to go first? Or
I'll warm up the group and then he'll...
So you'll warm them up? All right. The distinguished D. John Hammond.
Thank you, Don. I always like to hear people read what I've written by myself. Not too long ago, I was on my way home from work and happened to think of something I needed in a drugstore. So like anybody, just kind of ripped into the first place you see. And as it turns out, it's just before Easter time, and right inside of the door was the biggest display of chocolate rabbits I have ever seen in my life. And you can see it was like 30 feet long, and there were big ones and small ones and skinny ones and tall ones and all different colors of ribbon and cellophane and foil. I mean, this was some kind of sight. Right in front of this display, one of these storybook little girls. You've all seen kids like this. I know that some of you even have one at home like it right now. She's down there, freckles on her nose, and has a couple front teeth, pigtails. You'd like to just pick her up and squeeze her. And one of the clerk salesmen saw her and walked up to her and he said, "Darling, can I help you with something?" Kind of demandingly, she says, "Is this all the chocolate rabbits you got?" Just about blew him out of the store. He said, "There have to be 400 rabbits in that display. What in the world kind of rabbit did you want?" She said, "I want a boy chocolate rabbit." Well, he was a great salesman. He wanted to sell what he had in stock, the way anybody that sells anything tangible does. So to pacify her, he said, "Sweetheart, if that's all you want, there's not that much difference between a boy chocolate rabbit and a girl chocolate rabbit." And I know she's going to grow up to be a real winner, because get what she said to him disgustedly. She says, "I know that, but," she says, "that much difference is that much more chocolate." I like to share that experience with the like kind here. If we could take that little punchline there and look at what my aim is here, and Joe's for whatever he will say, that being a professional salesperson, saleswoman, speaker, anything, the basic difference between all of it is that you do big things that make big differences. And that's what I hope to plant that seed while I'm here with you in the 3 hours and 10 minutes. Sayonara! Well, trying to squeeze 25 years of experience with Cavett, who was my dearest and best friend, trying to squeeze that into a short period of time is a very difficult thing to do. Cavett, Don mentioned his name here. Cavett was, I would have the joy, the honor to hold his hand when he was dying. And I know all of you have people whose lives have been touched by the things that you do. And that's so exciting for me to come here to be with you tonight. Cavett was an interesting person in so many ways. At 70 years old, he sold his $100,000 a year legal pet practice to go out on the circuit there. And you want to talk about somebody who is flying by his own gut, this drive that he had, that he would do that. And Cavett always was very concerned about the fact that we as speakers, they have nothing to lean on in terms of associations or groups that get together. And doctors have the AMA and the Bar Association for Attorneys and so on. So he began to think about this and think about it and think about it. And you know, sometimes you think about a dream so much that you no longer have the dream has you. So what Cavett did was, he was a great salesman too, really. What Cavett did is he went to about 10 of us, Joe and some other people, and began to imbue them with his enthusiasm. And that contagiousness, we no longer began to start to think about it. We wanted to do something about it. So what he did was get these disciples, we are one of those, together, and we had a meeting, and we brought notepads and passed them out, and we said, everybody tell us the name of anybody that's speaking professionally, and let's see what our list looks like. Well, surprisingly enough, there must have been 100 people on that list. So we divided them up into groups of areas, whether geographically or what it might have been, in order to begin our assault. The funny thing about him, nobody was safe immune from this bite. And Cavett, of course, knew Dr. Norman Vincent Peale quite well. Cavett went to the same college that his son, Norman's son, later on, of course, became a member there and so on. And Cavett had some things he'd done to help him, so Cavett felt he could lean on Norman a little bit to get him to cough up some dues and join the association. So Norman said, Cavett, you know that I'm very, very strong positive thinker, but I think you're pushing that thing just a little bit too much. So I said, but I'm a gambling man. When you get to 100 people at your association, you let me know and I'll sign up and pay the dues and become a member. Well, Cavett had a good memory about that, believe me, because anybody that was warm that looked good, we don't let them get off the hook. Well, it happened in this case to be about three years that we were able to get these 100 people as members. And Cavett called Norman on the phone and he said, Norman, Cavett Robert calling, get your checkbook out. And he did, and he spoke to the association, 4 or 5 times, our national association, and was a member in fact to do that. So that talks about the meager beginning of how we began to get this thing going. Well, it took us 2 years to get 63 people together to have a convention here in Scottsdale. And we were, if you look at this group here and think about the evolution of this, that this is a man who gave birth to his idea, and it got these 63 people out, and then it began to roll and roll and roll. So that's how that thing got started. Now, if you want to see abject poverty, you ought to see the kind of money we had. We would stand around the table at a board meeting, and everybody emptied his pockets on the table, and that was the financial statement. So we were so poor, we couldn't even afford to pay attention. So here we are, we're at that point. And the thing as I've thought about coming here tonight, I think that you're on the throes of the first step toward becoming the president of the association. Some one or ones of you, before now that you've started your first step, will go on and go through the chairs and become a president of the association. I believe that as well as I can possibly tell you. Okay, Cavett was a walking encyclopedia of songs to sing, it had a message, poems to write, and all that kind of thing. One of the affairs that he had with this life of his is that he grew up in Mississippi and had a lot of culture about that kind of country. It was that place of the country. And he had a favorite poem. He said, "People come to my house to talk about you. People come to your house to talk about me. I will not talk about that as his case, but I'll only talk while I am down on my knees." And I think that speaks very highly of the man. God bless you. Thank you.
Something else I might share with you about John is that in the 1960s there was a vision cast by a man named Hal Krause and Zig Ziglar and a few others about having big motivational rallies around the country in some of the big cities. And a number of us, including me, got our speaking spurs by going out and selling these rally tickets. And to sell the rally tickets, we would give one or two stories of the main speakers that were going to be on the program. And Cavett was always one of those, and Earl Nightingale, and Maxwell Maltz, and Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, and so many of them. And it had a huge impact in businesses because as they would attend one of these big rallies in a major city, they began to see what a professional speaker could contribute and what their value was to have in a meeting. Well, I think I can safely say that in selling these rally tickets all around America, no one sold more of those tickets than D. John Hammond. It was called American Motivational Association. And his production was phenomenal. Those of us who worked beside him worked tirelessly and still came in third, fourth, fifth, or sixth because of John. And I share that with you because in many cases we enjoy the fruits of the labors of those who have worked to create that pie out there. That pie we call the market. A changing, amorphous market, isn't it? And we keep trying to figure out what it is and where it's going next and to be ready for it. But it had its origin there, and certainly NSA did as well.